Podcast, everybody. My name is Connor, and with me are Chance and Chase. This is going to be a fun podcast. This is our first one that we've ever done, guys. Here we're going to be talking about what we're excited about in the college football season. We're going to be talking about who we are, our backgrounds as both fans, and a little bit as people, why we're doing this, what we're tired of, what we're really fighting for with this podcast. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. The season is right around the corner. There's so much happening. So much has happened since the end of last season. So much is happening every single day, and we're going to keep you guys up to date on all of it. Let's go ahead and get started with our introductions. Chase, coming all the way from Phoenix, Arizona.
Hey guys, I'm Chase. I'm an ASU alum. I definitely cheer for them, but I am a much bigger LSU Tigers fan. Go Tigers.
Awesome. Chance, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Chance, not Chase. We made a great decision bringing on 3 C names, one Chase, one Chance, so bear with us on that. I college football fan my whole life. I'm into more sports than just college football, but I was told that that's all we do here. That's okay. I'm a BYU fan. Shout out to all the Cougars out there. Hopefully we get some good times out there. But in general, I just love college football and love to hate Alabama. And I think that's what brought us all together is we hate Alabama. This is the anti-Alabama podcast. Actually, unfortunately, I think I have to defend a little bit on this podcast this year. We'll see. We'll see what everybody feels like.
If they earn it, if they do anything defensible, we will defend them. But
yeah, we'll see.
They have enough people defending them on other media. They're fine.
Well, yeah, and that's part of the podcast, right? Is we want to look out for the little guys that don't get the voice heard, right, and not the big guys. But we can't just rag on somebody if they actually back it up. We'll see.
I think one of our motivations with this is really to give credit where it's earned, not before it's earned. We want to not be just worshiping at the throne of Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas, not knocking any of their resumes, not saying they haven't done big things in the past. But let's not pretend like just because they won a whole bunch of championships in the 80s and 90s that they're the only ones that we can pay attention to, that they're the only ones that are talented, they're the only ones that are going to be worth watching year in and year out. We want to give a voice to all of the teams that actually do, especially in this new age of college football, have just as legitimate of a chance as anybody else. The 12-team playoff was wild last year, and we have a feeling it's only going to get cooler moving forward. I guess I'm the only one who has to introduce myself. So I'm Connor. I went to Arizona State at the same time as Chase. He and I had slightly different results coming out of that university, in that he actually did come out of the university, and I was not there all the way to the end. That being said, I am a lifelong diehard Arizona State fan. Some might say a little bit too diehard of an Arizona State fan. I bleed maroon and gold. I have slept on the sidewalks waiting for tickets to come out, be in the student section. Love them to death, and especially excited to see what Kenny Dillingham and company have in store for season 3 of his tenure. Chase, you and I have watched games in person and on TV and in all the sports bars you can imagine across the Phoenix area over the years. We've seen the highs and especially all of the many, many lows. But it's going to be a fun season. It's going to be a fun season in a fun conference in an amazingly fun sport. Let's talk a little bit more about, why we're doing this. Chase, what are you excited about with this podcast?
I'm excited to just, spend time with my guys here and talk about a sport that I've loved since I was in middle school, I grew up watching college football with my dad. I felt like it was a lot more entertaining to watch than the NFL. There was a lot more highs and lows, a lot more just surprises, just weird plays that just happened out of nowhere that just blew my mind even at that age. And now, like just off the top of my head, just thinking back of when I saw the kick 6 happen, Auburn and Alabama in the Iron Bowl, and watching that play and just absolutely losing my mind. I was in high school and I just started running down the street screaming, "Down goes Bama! Down goes Bama!" It was a great time.
I'm not even like I don't even claim the SEC in the least in any of my fan base, but that is still one of the most legendary plays. Not just because it was taking down the Titan that was Alabama, and especially at their absolute pinnacle in those days, but just that is the definition of college football: the highest stakes you can imagine, and the
Oh
craziest
yeah,
things happening in the biggest moments.
the
That play
magic
has to
that
be up
happened.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that play has to be up there with like Michigan State, the block punt
yeah,
for a return, where it's like, how did this happen?
yeah,
Like, how did we get here? And it's just college football is just full of those moments, and it's so fun. And I think one of the reasons why I love being on this podcast or starting this up is we would just sit there and just text each other and be like, talk about this. It's like, why don't we do this in front of a camera? Because it's so much better and relatable. We could talk to other people too, get other people involved. And that way I can show people, hey, Connor's crazy. Grayson McCall is not going to the NFL, guys.
it was one time.
I mean, it's just not happening. And the Shador Sanders definitely is. It's great to be able to share that with other people and kind of just smack talking from a camera.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of the most exciting sports in the world. I dare say the most exciting sport at least in this country. And we want to be a part of the conversation. We want you guys to be part of the conversation too. We're excited to engage. We're excited to do things a little bit differently. We're not gonna act like, again, we're the most sane people in the world for saying that anybody in the world can beat the big dogs. What we want to do is we want to give them a voice. We want to give your team the voice to let you know that yes, it can happen, that you do deserve, and it will have some time in the spotlight, and that just because they are the big dog doesn't mean they need to hog the spotlight all the time. But we're also not going to act like that's not a crazy thing to say. We're not going to act like we're not talking about slaying giants here. We're going to be doing some fun stuff. We're going to be calling it hot routes and hot takes. Every week we're going to be having some kind of competition, I guess, if you will, to let people know we think that these things could happen. We're going to be making some claims that are going to be pretty audacious, and we recognize that. We're going to hold ourselves accountable to it as well, and we want you guys to see what that looks like. We'll talk about that more as the show goes on, but I have a feeling that a lot of the people that we're going to be talking trash about on this podcast, they're going to see us pay for it, and it's going to be a good time though.
You know what I hate about traditional podcasts or shows or whatever? They'll just scream at a mic and they'll say that they're right, and they're wrong so many times.
No
and
skin in the game.
Yeah, there's no skin in the game. There's no punishment. There's no retribution. They could just run their mouth and say whatever they want, And I get so tired of that. And so we're gonna put it where our what's the saying?
Money where our mouth
Money
is.
where your mouth is. There it is.
Yeah.
If you want to say that, you gotta live with it. You gotta live with the result.
Yeah.
And that might be you get punished.
Yeah, for better or worse. Yeah. So, Chase, what's one of the things that you're looking forward to most? Hot topics, not hot routes, hot takes, hot topics for this season that's upcoming.
Well, as I said, I'm a huge LSU fan, and I am not blind. I can see how great of a position that Brian Kelly is in this year, and what will probably happen if he does not deliver on what he has promised for a while, which is to not win, not just win 9 or 8 games in the regular season and then just coast to a simple bowl game. Is to actually maybe win the SEC and then compete for the playoffs, instead of just staying at this plateau that he's loved to be so comfortable at. So,
one of the things that I love about LSU, it specifically in the SEC, is y'all are willing to die on just about any hill, and and you stay hungry every single year.
Yeah,
a lot of people. I don't think it's lost on anybody that LSU has had 2 national championships and 2 Heismans, or pardon me, 1 national championship and 2 Heismans in the last 5 years, I guess. We have the last 5 seasons that have actually happened. Most teams most programs would call that colossal success. Certain Michigan fans have seemed to be pretty satisfied with having the 2023 championship, and they didn't even get a Heisman out of it. They haven't had a Heisman in 20 years.
You're wrong about that, Connor. They're only happy they beat Ohio State 2 times. They can't even remember the national championship.
They didn't have a lot to be happy about last season, but that was a beautiful win nonetheless.
It was a successful season. They beat Ohio State.
That's all that matters.
That's all that
1-11 is what they could go as long as they win the game.
Yep.
But LSU fans, I mean, most would call that a success, and y'all are like, no, we want it. We want it again. We want it now. We want it even more than we wanted it last year. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think back to all the conversations we had when you're talking about a bad ASU loss, and you're like, it's okay, we can bounce back from that. But every time my team loses once, I'm just like, this team, oh my, this season's ruined. It's ruined. One loss. What am I even doing watching this? Like, and then I do watch the next game, and then watch the next game.
The school isn't helping you at all by always scheduling a top 10 matchup in week 1.
You know, they love to make us suffer, but
this is a major year for Brian Kelly. They're going to be a fun program to watch.
100%. He is back against the wall. He needs to deliver. He can't just sit there and plateau again. We need to make the college football playoff this season. We need to make this SEC championship. Oh yeah, they're the top of the transfer portal class. And they've had a wonderful draft class, and the defense looks so much better than last year, at least pieces wise. Now they just need to perform that and show that they are as talented as they are on paper. So,
if they don't succeed and they fail, will Brian Kelly's tenure be remembered as him doing that one photo shoot with the recruit where they go around in circles? You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Will that be how he's remembered at LSU if he doesn't do anything there?
Who's to say he will be remembered?
Well, I mean, I won't forget that moment. I mean, top 10 moment of my life right there.
He has had quite a few cringe moments, I won't lie. When he first got here, he just magically obtained this Cajun accent with his voice as a man who lived in Indiana for so long. That's crazy how quickly the dialect just made its way into his vocal cords. But if he doesn't perform, that's the best case scenario of what he'll be remembered for is having a okay tenure here, and that's not what we shoot for at LSU.
No, LSU doesn't want okay. LSU wants greatness or absolutely nothing. And
nope.
I admire that. How about you, Chance?
This season in particular, I want to see what the Big Ten, SEC versus the world's going to look like again. I think it's a critical year.
For the health of the sport, you mean?
Probably for the health of the sport. Are some teams going to inch out that win and get more playoff spots, or is it going to be, hey, 10 playoff spots to the Big Ten and Big 12, or Big Ten and SEC again? We'll see. But I think there's a lot of exciting things happening outside of that. I don't want to talk about them all right now, but it does seem like other teams are starting to put the money in, the time in, and getting the recruits. And we're starting to see that trickle through. And so while there is, the death of the group of 5, if you want to say, and the P4, which is really the P2 or whatever, I think it's really changing at a fast pace that there might be more competition now than ever. And the championship could come down to, hey, it's not Alabama every year. Hey, we can sneak in a different school that we just didn't expect. And I'm looking forward to seeing those movements this year and seeing, hey, can we go and build off that for future years?
So you're saying that your first hot take of this season is not going to be that the MAC takes one of the playoff spots?
No, I don't.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
All right.
Don't do that to him,
We're
Connor.
going to take the safe route with that one, huh?
Yeah. Don't do that to him, Connor.
Yeah. That would be the hottest take of the century on that one. But
action, baby.
Let's go. Tuesday nights.
Tuesday nights. Hey,
can't beat them. Join them. Well, that's awesome. Well, yeah, tons to be excited about. I'll go ahead and I'll talk about the little guys a little bit. We've been pretty SEC heavy in this big one, but I am excited for it because, and though I am incredibly emotionally invested in it, I really do think that the Big 12 is going to make a resurgence. I think that a lot of what has happened in the transfer portal is going to make them a very competitive conference. I think that it's going to look different, certainly. I don't think the teams that were the big dogs last year, I don't think all of them are going to be quite what they were. I don't know if Colorado's going to be able to live up to any of that. I think they might take a step back, unfortunately. And as much as people have varying opinions on Deion Sanders, I do think that Colorado being good is very good for the sport. And I would like to see them, but I'm going to need to see a lot. It's going to take a lot of convincing. I really would genuinely like to see Kansas be good. I'd like to see TCU be good again. Few teams fell from grace or ascended to grace and fell from grace as fast as TCU did the last couple of years. But they're a fun program with a lot of heart, and I hope to see them improve. Obviously, the Sun Devils are in a weird position of actually having hype for the first time in 10 years, genuinely. And we all remember what happened last time they had any hype, don't we, Chase?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was
very cold in Oregon.
Time.
Very cold up there.
Yeah. Yeah, Corvallis. Who knew that the 4-8 Oregon State Beavers would be the ones to take down the 8-1 Sun Devils just because it was a little chilly. We try not to remember that weekend, but
I don't know what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, I've blocked it out from my memory as well. No, but then the next year they came back, and ever since that next year, it's been nothing but missed expectations. But hopefully they can live up to the hype. They've certainly got the talent, and I think that they have a strong case, but they're not the only ones. BYU has a lot going for it this year. Kansas has a ton going for it this year. Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about.
You know who I'm interested in? Texas Tech. You know Texas Tech has the second best transfer portal rating this season in the nation.
I see why you say second, but I think they're number one, and
they're
number two.
It's close. You know how the ratings work. It's very close. LSU is slightly over, but Texas Tech to be the second in the nation, not just the conference, the nation in transfer portal rating. That's real nice.
Yeah.
13 4-stars they got transferred to them. That's a great look. And they had a pretty decent season last season, so they could definitely capitalize on that. So
there's a hill that I will die on, but it's not going to be in this episode. We'll save that for the Big 12 breakdown. I got my thoughts on Texas Tech. Chance, you and I have discussed that a little bit. God bless them. I hope they do their best. I don't know if the historical vibes are going to be with them any more than they have been the last 40 years. But we will see. Lots to be excited about in that conference. And though I don't think that it's helping the sport in general, NIL. That's obviously one of the big subjects, and we'll be diving a little bit deeper into that. NIL, I don't think is a net positive, but I do think that regulating it is going to yield net positive. I don't know if it's going to be this year. We got a whole bunch, but there's some evidence of some things happening that I think are flying under the radar a little bit, that I think are positive trends that are going to be kind of correcting some of these things. What are you guys thinking on, Chance? What do you think about the NIL stuff that's been happening?
Well, I might have a unique perspective because I was a college athlete.
Sure. Yeah.
And I even wrote papers in college about, what's going on with student athletes. Should they be paid? Should they not be paid pre-NIL? So, me personally, even though we need to find out how to not be the wild, wild west, some regulations, I actually disagree. I think it is a good thing, not just from a competition standpoint, but somewhat that way as well. I think we are seeing some trends. Your Texas Techs, for example, all of a sudden can go get some guys, and Alabama doesn't hoard three, a starter as someone behind him and someone behind him that can be starting everywhere. So I think there's mostly positives. I think there's some interesting things we'll have to talk about that are going on, even some legal cases going on that might affect things. But I think there's only positives, and I think it's spreading out the love and the joy of college football to the nation. And you'll see some of these teams that didn't have a chance before that, hey, they're starting to get some money. They're starting to flow it in, and Virginia might have a chance. I mean, they might get some players. They already are. They might compete.
Chase, what are your thoughts on it?
So I mean, I think just like with any league, there needs to be some regulations to it, because then otherwise, a school that brings in the most money is probably going to bring in the best candidates for everything. So I definitely do believe, similarly to Chance, that it is a good thing that they're getting paid. I mean, they're going out and they're risking their bodies no matter what sport they're playing, and they're making tons of money, pulling in tons of revenue for those colleges, and all on their name, their likeness, and their performances. And that to just give them a $50,000 scholarship and be like, that's it, that's all you can legally take, was ridiculous. So I definitely love that they're getting paid. There's going to be some instances where I think some athletes are being a little bit too egotistical, but if another team's willing to pay that check for them and pull Nico over to UCLA, then that's on them. That's UCLA betting the house for a talented quarterback. But let's see how that pays off for them and other teams that want to spend the money like that. So I mean, obviously at the same time, LSU suffered a bit, losing their 5-star recruit to Michigan, who vastly paid their quarterback prospect last season in the offseason. And that was definitely a stinger to get in the middle of our season. But it is what it is, and we'll bounce back. And good luck to him as well at Michigan. Hopefully he can beat those Buckeyes for us.
I say Godspeed to anybody who's trying to beat the Buckeyes in anything, in water polo, underwater basket weaving. I don't know why all my examples are water-based competitions. I met a guy from Ohio. I used to work with a guy from Ohio who was a grown man, couldn't swim. Did they not do that? They got a great lake on their shores. This man did not know how to swim. 22 years old.
Yeah, but it's very eerie there,
There we go. On that note, we're going to take a little bit of time right here at the end to explain the hot routes, hot takes game that we're going to be playing throughout the season. Keep an eye out for it as we move on. I'm just going to be explaining the rules. Here's how it goes. We're going to be men of our word. We're going to be men of commitment, for better or worse, for crazy or sane or anything in between. If you make a claim that is absolutely outlandish, for example, I don't think any of us think this is actually going to happen, but this is the type of thing we're talking about. Let's say, I think the MAC is going to secure a playoff spot. Somebody is gonna shout at me and say, somebody's gonna shout at me and say,
"You willing to die on that hill?"
Am I willing to die on that hill? You bet I am.
Buffalo Bulls, baby.
There we go. We love it. Yes. So we'll make that claim. Now, obviously, we won't know that until like 2 games into the season when we realize that every single MAC team is 0-2. Then we'll know. But we can live in some blissful ignorance for a while with some incredible hope. I say that claim. All 3 parties have to agree that I will die on that hill. Meaning that if they challenge me, then I have to say, yep, I'll die on that hill. And then we're going to write that down on a sticky note. We're going to date it. We're going to slap it on the wall. We're going to have a wheel of punishments. We're going to have a hot wheel and a cold wheel. Hot Routes, Hot Takes. If the hot take does not come true, then I'm going to have to spin the cold wheel as my punishment. I'm going to have to get my hot take cooled right off. And the week that it happens, the week that the last MAC team gets absolutely eliminated from playoff contention, again, probably week 2, I'm going to have to spin that wheel. And everybody is going to get to relish me taking that punishment. What is it going to be? We'll let you know later on in various episodes, but they're going to be spicy and chili. Let me tell you. But if we win, if the Buffalo Bulls manage to secure that 12th spot, then those two who disagreed with me, those two who had no faith, they get punishment. And they have to eat my heat, meaning that they both get to spin the hot wheel. And whatever comes up in that hot punishment, they have to both do that. And I get to sit there and laugh and watch and enjoy the fruits of my clairvoyance, my genius. And then watch the Buffalo Bulls get trounced 70-3 in the first round of the playoff. So, that's the hot takes game.
The wheel giveth and the wheel taketh away.
Yes, it does.
What I just want to say, between me and Chase, we look forward to you doing a lot of punishments, Connor.
Yeah.
It is fun to watch you suffer.
Yeah, that's what we're all here for. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the first inaugural episode of the Concussion Protocol Podcast. We're here to have fun. We're glad you're here with us. We'll talk to you later.